The Torah instructs, lay his hands on the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted for him to make atonement for him. One might assume that the sacrifice was meant as an atonement for sin, but this is not accurate. As we've already said, we're talking about a burnt offering here, and it has nothing to do with sin. But this is a difficulty because we clearly have the word atonement here. So what do we mean by atonement? Well, the Torah's use of the term atonement, or in Hebrew, kaphar, certainly can imply the forgiveness of sin and the removal of guilt, but the word means more than just that. In the narrative of Noah's Ark, the word kaphar is used to mean the application of a protective coating. When the Torah describes how Noah applied the pitch to the ark, it uses the term kaphar. In Genesis 6:14, when it says cover it inside and out with pitch, kaphar it inside and out with pitch. That pitch was the waterproofing stuff that Noah put on the outside of the ark to protect it. So the term kaphar, or atonement, can mean the application of a protective coating. But to be clear, the Torah also uses the term kaphar as a ransom for one's life. So which way is it being understood here in Leviticus 1? Is it a protective covering, or is it a ransom for one's life? I'm going to say that both meanings apply in the ritual context of Israel's worship system. Both? How could it be both? Well, I'm glad you asked. In the Torah, instructions for the building of the tabernacle, the priesthood, the altar, the furnishings, and even the tabernacle itself all required atonement, or kaphar. In these cases, we should understand atonement as a covering, not as a ransom for one's life. Obviously, these inanimate objects did not need atonement in that sense, but they did need this covering in order to stand in the presence of God. Realize that all of these objects that are going to need atonement made for them are all going to be near to God's holy presence. So, although they're just pieces of wood or fabric, they still need a covering in order to survive an encounter with the consuming spirit of the Almighty God. So what about our guy making his offering? Well, the worshiper who is seeking to draw near to God also needs a covering due to the consuming spirit of God. Remember that God is dangerous, and to be near him in the flesh is to be in jeopardy. The sacrificial system was a means by which those who desire to draw near to God's manifest presence on earth could do so safely, albeit through a surrogate. We should understand Levitical atonement primarily as a covering in the sense of a protective shelter from the manifest presence of God who occupied the temple. Whenever we read in Leviticus, and this shall make atonement for him, don't think covering his sin and salvation. Instead, think a protective shelter so that he could draw near to the manifest presence of God.